Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm here with Paul Green from the business community. Paul, good afternoon to you. How are you?
Yeah, hi Steve. Thanks for having me on. No, things are good. A little bit chilly, but apart from that, everything is fine.
Good stuff. Okay, so Paul, could you tell us who you are, please, and where you're from, first of all?
My name's Paul Green, founder of the business community, and I'm based in Findon in East Northants.
Okay, so you're the founder of the business community then. So presumably that was something that you set up. Would you be able to tell me about the startup of the business community and the challenges you may have faced when you did that?
Yeah, sure. Well, actually, the business community as a brand name is fairly new. We only did that in February. Prior to that, we were called Connect Networking. And what I was finding when I was trying to expand the company elsewhere is, if you like, we were just another bloody networking group. And that didn't really work. So I thought, well, how can we distinguish ourselves out and be different and capitalize on our strengths? So that's how come we lost the connect, we lost the networking, we came up with a business community, and the focus now, rather than the networking, which is our foundations, we look at the business growth stuff that we do. So we offer free workshops for members. We have like a Ask the Experts panel of about 20 people that give free advice. We've got mentors that we give out like gifts that we assign to newish businesses. So if you're up to 15 months old, you can get signed a mentor, and various other bits and pieces that are all around business growth, and the networking, obviously, as I said, underpins that. We rebranded in February and then went into lockdown in March, so it's quite an interesting journey to transform the business almost overnight to get that sort of continuity, really. So that's been the most recent challenge since we rebranded.
I see. So, in terms of that startup, then that process, because obviously a lot of our viewers would probably like to hear about, the challenges you faced when you first set up your networking. So, what were the biggest challenges you came across? And I suppose, why did you do it as well, Paul? Why did you go into this?
Well, I started networking about 9 years ago, was when I originally started a networking group. And the reason that I did it was to raise my profile within the business community, the general business community in Northamptonshire, because I'd recently moved up to Northamptonshire. And the challenges were initially, obviously, to get bums on seats. That's always going to be an issue for any organisation, whether they're training or whatever. But I managed to get, reach out, managed to get some people come along to the launch. We had about 30 at the launch. People seem to like the format. There are a lot of different formats out there, and they seem to like it because it wasn't too in your face. It wasn't too structured. Then again, it wasn't too loose. It sort of hit a middle ground. And it just grew from there, really. The only downside was I was trying to raise my profile as a business advisor, business coach. But unfortunately, because it became so successful, people saw me as Mr. Network and not Mr. Business Coach. Again, partly why we've now shifted the branding to be more about business growth generically, rather than just the networking aspect of it.
Yeah. And I suppose, and also the other thing about the Digital Future First project, as you know, we're all about technology and talent, of course. So I've got to ask you a technology question here. And
Sure.
that is what is the best digital app or program that you have ever used, and why?
So when I first started, it was your typical send out an email, stick a name on a spreadsheet. Which is fine when you're managing about 30 people and you've only got one group every fortnight. But then as you grow and get bigger, you have to upgrade your technology. So I think then I moved on to Eventbrite, which is an online platform. Others are available. Then I integrated, because I had a WordPress website, because Eventbrite got quite costly. I then used a WordPress plugin. I think it was called Event Espresso. That was like the next iteration. So that enabled me to cut out the cost of Eventbrite, because it was just the PayPal cost. And then eventually I've moved to bespoke software. So if I kind of mention another colleague, a guy called Ashish Kumar and his team at Web Alliance, they've basically created a bespoke piece of software for me that now manages my business. And that has saved me hours and hours of time. So I guess my recommendation would be, depending on your available budget. There's stuff out there that you can probably use for any business, but in a networking context, you might get to the size where you really need to get some bespoke software that matches your business, because no available CRM system or anything like that exactly matches your business, whereas my system pretty much does, because it's been designed to work how my particular organization works.
I see. Okay. Well, that's really great. Thank you for that. So I suppose the next question really is, who or what had the biggest impact on your career?
I guess there's been a number of people along the way, but I guess the biggest impact on one level was choosing to go into this in the first place. That jump from corporate to being a small business owner, I guess that's really the motivator, because it's peaks and troughs in a small business. On that journey, there's far too many people, I think, to sort of bring out one or two names. I do believe that if anybody is out there that's a small business, go and get some external advice, go and get support, get someone to help you on that journey. It doesn't always have to be paid for. You can find people through networking that are happy to support you and help you out on that journey. Just don't do it alone, really.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, actually. And I suppose that links in quite nicely to my final question with you this afternoon. And that is what's the best tech or talent advice to give to someone in your shoes?
Tech nowadays, there's probably an app for everything, isn't there?
Yeah.
You could go and find something out there. And the great thing is that a lot of these things start off, have a free or low cost access level. So I've used software, be it from Excel in the early days through to a bespoke system now. And I'm always looking for those different pieces of software that I can use. I've got a program that I use that sends out bulk texts, for example. It makes it easier to do that. So yes, it's really just looking at, what software will ease up the admin, because you've only got so many hours in a day, and time's the most valuable commodity that small businesses have. So if you can buy back that time, then that's great. With regard to talent, my business model has never really been to have employees. So I outsource various things, be it to virtual assistants, be it to software developers, be it to social media people. So I think it's, surround yourself with talented people and utilize them to support the business growth at the end of the day.
That's great, Paul. Thank you very much. And I do have one final question for you, and that is obviously, because you're speaking to business owners all the time as part of your networking. We all know that we're in this middle of a pandemic at the moment, as much as we try to ignore that in our day-to-day interactions virtually. But I think that the question is what do you think are the biggest challenges for the business owners like yourself out there now at the moment? What's the biggest challenge they're facing?
I think it's to stay positive, to be forward-looking at the opportunities that might exist going forward. I appreciate some sectors have been hit harder than others, which is, a real shame for them. But I think, if you are surviving, then look to the future and adapt. The business that I'm seeing to be the most successful are the ones that have managed to evolve given the current climate. And I think that'll take them, put them in a stronger position going forward, because as they're reaching out and using technology, as they're using things like Zoom to do one-to-one meetings and client meetings rather than travel costs and travel time, I think that adaptation, that evolution, I think is going to make business go stronger. So I'd say try and sustain a positive outlook, try and look to the future, and try and be conscious of how your business might be able to adapt, pretty much using technology. I think technology is now here to stay. I'll continue to do virtual stuff even when we're back in the physical world, because I think it's created a need for that, or at least people are more comfortable using technology this way. So I'd just say that, it's difficult sometimes. We will have our down days, but if you can keep that positive outlook, back to the talent, surround yourself with positive people, and find someone who's a shoulder to cry on or an ear to bend, because every now and again we all need that.
Well, Paul Green from the business community, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. I really appreciate your comments and thoughts out there. I should just say as well, if there are any business owners in the region, in the Semlep region, that are watching this video and feeling full of anxiety and stress, please don't stress. In fact, there is a site that can help you. It's digitalfuturefirst.co.uk. Jump onto the website and register, because we are a European socially funded program, and we are required to let you know about all the latest packages that are coming down from central government. And I'm reliably informed there'll be a lot more incentives and packages coming out in the first quarter of 2021. So yeah, please do get on our website. You're not alone. Register on there and we will keep you in the loop. And if you want to speak to any of our advisors, you can do so via the website. Paul, once again, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. It's a real pleasure talking to you.
Not a problem, Steve. Thanks for the opportunity.